Somebody in the studio. Na yendi enkomo. Captain Elmenchaya, meneno eba bedi enkomo. So far, if you follow the media, there's been lots and lots of interviews that he's granted. I think about 2 or 3 interviews were granted. As in making the headlines, virtually all the tabloids will be a carry stories. No? And interesting revelations will make you during these interviews. A lot of it is coming from this book. One launch here. The UT story, Humble Beginnings, Volume 1. And I pay Yedi and Komo. Captain, good morning.
Good morning.
Na I'm going to say, you know, yes. Interviews in the Koye, some of the revelations in there, and so far, what's that? Has there been any blowback in terms of some of the things you've said? Any amount for reaction to?
Well, I'm a bit disappointed with some of the headlines on PK. I'm saying a whole lot of things about leadership and how to run businesses and how to avoid potholes in businesses. Over here, no be for headline be and I think maybe they want sensationalism a bit, but in all, I think the response has been quite good. Yeah.
So you are happy with the feedback you're getting?
I'm very, very happy with the feedback I'm getting.
All right. There's a picture that I want us to set the tone with for our conversation before we come to the book itself, because I'm impressed with the quality of the book. If you can project this picture for me, there's a picture of yourself, which I want to put on the screen. Prior to your conversation, I went to your Facebook wall and I was going through, you know, some of your pictures on social media and all. But this one struck me because I remember back then you had used it for one of your advertisements as to the dream, the vision, where you wanted to go as a brand, then UT Bank. At the time this picture was taken, what were you thinking about in terms of the focus, the vision for your firm, then UT Bank, if you remember?
I was handsome and a very young man.
Yeah, young then.
And yeah, I think things were going right. You know, when we started, as this book says, the humble beginnings, and at this stage, we had actually grown Unique Trust Financial Services and become UT Financial Services, and we're receiving all kinds of awards for how we brought the company. We're the best non-bank financial institution, and we're just about getting into banking. So there was a lot on my mind, and I think the picture does justice to that time. Say, where are we heading to?
What was the dream around this time?
The dream was actually to build a Pan-African company, and we did a bit. You know, say UT, it wasn't just a bank, it was the holding company, it was logistics, properties, private securities, and we're also in Nigeria and South Africa. So we have started putting footprints in. And it's an interesting story that we start with just 4 of us at Kantamanto, and we built up to this stage and own a bank and also have footprints in South Africa, in Nigeria, and even in Germany, in Hamburg. So the dream was big, and we did achieve a lot, and we're happy about it.
At the time all these dreams were within, as a young man then, did it ever occur to you we'll be here having a conversation about the non-existence of that dream?
No, it didn't. But
True.
So it was never on my mind. I thought we had a good company. We had built an indigenous company which was solid, and it was good for the youth coming up. Say it's doable. And we thought it was going to be sustained, and it would be something unique and special, and some hallmark for people to look at. Unfortunately, yes, sir, but life continues.
In some of your prior conversations were granted to some of our media friends, you indicate at some point you realized things were not going well.
Yeah.
What was done? Who said
we did a whole lot of things. You had to actually set back and review the situation. And we set up a reconstruction plan to actually look at where and what we can do and produce a good document about looking at the processes, looking at the risk aspect, looking at how we can raise cheaper monies, looking at the way we're doing our loans, maybe it was too fast and so on and so forth, how we can introduce additional capital, and we set it into motion. What people even forget is that at some point when I felt, say, we're not getting the desired results, and I told my board to say, I'm say in Sokracha or Twemwa, and I had to step down. That was in 2015, 2 years before the bank was taken over. So we did a whole lot of things, including me even backing out, to let us have fresh pair of hands, fresh eyes and ideas. So we did a lot, but that is what happened.
The picture we had of you as a military officer, what transition into banking was that of a disciplined, principled individual. Many the entire setup of a bank. And so whatever the causes would have been, whether corporate governance structures and not any right, there would have been little hints. Ebia Mosa non tema and can be drew pembese kudrieno. Anna.
In hindsight, with me I can't anything. And, but the issue is that what made us great was the culture that we had. We built a team. There was transparency, there was caring, there was trust. But I read a book later. So in every human endeavor or association, if you reach a figure of 150, you must reinvent yourself. Now UT grew to maybe a total of about 200. At that level, my influence could be felt almost everywhere. Then we strategized to go into banking, which was a natural growth course. But going to banking meant a whole lot of things. I don't want to go into all the aspects, but one of the aspects, which is the main aspect, is that when we go into banking, as is required, we need to bring bankers into the bank, like treasurer, like head of risk, head of banking operations, corporate banking people, head of whatever. Now, we didn't have them because they started not yet bankers, right? So we brought all these people. We had to even push them and pay them higher than they were getting in the other banks. Now, when they came and sat on top of the various departments: corporate banking, head of banking operations, treasury head, because it's all in him, and we had to take our time to learn. Now, they came from various banks, not even one bank. Some came from Stanchart, Access, what name it. Each one came with their own culture, and they came as head of the department. So my culture, or the culture that I led, anyone there know a clash. So then they introduced their culture in their departments. For example, the people who were original UT, who would walk into any office and face any person, including the CEO, if you did that to head of department, so long and short of it, the culture got diluted. We saw it. We introduced brand ambassadors. We had also strategy sessions talking about the values and the culture and things like that. But I mean, typically, we say Nigerian bank. I remember one of them, Ushami, is a person that from crap because we say, hey, yes, sir. You know, so one of the things that really caused us the problem was the change in the culture, because they brought a different, not one culture, different culture in the various ways. So the original people were at a loss, and some of them who came were even thieves, raw thieves. I won't pay a bit alpha. And then they came, and things that were not used to, these bosses were doing it, to the point where even some of the old guys that I trusted said, when we buy and come there and when we say there, then we also do it. So we saw it coming slowly. We're trying to fight it. We had to put structures in it, even to the point where we had to appoint control officers on top of audits and all sort of things. But it's water under the bridge.
There's a point that is seldom spoken about, and that has to do with the role of the Bank of Ghana in all this. Because if the Bank of Ghana were to be playing their supervisory role properly, these internal challenges you might have been facing, they would have seen them. They would have put in measures to correct them. In all this, the supervisory role, the report indicated that indeed the Bank of Ghana itself could be faulted in the processes that led to the dissolution of some of the banks. But who said action be in terms of the Bank of Ghana itself? Does it prick your mind?
Well, when they're regulated, they are not supposed to manage the banks for you per se. They come, they audit, get their report and give you part of the report as in what do you think is going wrong, what do you think you have to do right. If you have to be sanctioned, you are sanctioned. But the management of the bank is yours, right? When we're going through our problems, yes, in a bit, they are allowed to probably appoint a director onto the board of the bank. The bank is having problems. In our case, they didn't whilst I was there. I don't think they did. But yeah, finally they had to call the shot, as in whether to bail out the bank or to close it down. Bailing out the bank meant literally to give a loan to the bank and probably say that pay it over, say, 5 years and things, which is not unusual, because in America and the rest, you don't kill a bank that is doing well or it's got a name or a brand. But then they also had the option of saying, your situation is so bad, we have to shut it down. And unfortunately, they took the second option of shutting it down. Whether that was the better option or not, it's for people to decide.
But not company viable enough to salvage at the time, or we decided to shut it down?
Let's put it this way. It costs the government, the people of Ghana, a lot more to close down than to have salvaged. It's a choice. If you close down, maybe 600 people lose their jobs. The bank needed maybe 1 billion or something to turn around, a bill out of 1 billion. But the closing down cost maybe about 2.2 billion plus lost jobs. It's an option that you must evaluate and take it very rationally and without biases. But I think in our case, if you look at how the bank was closed down, I would dare say, yes, I need a close bank. I no panels here. Now the police, the press, signages. It's a bank. And you could have if you more attack. You know, so I think, well, it wasn't, but it is what a decision they took.
I'm over because this banking sector cleanup it was targeted. Do you share that view?
I don't think so. But being the way we are, certain things, especially with UT there, I don't want to think about it because I hate negativity. But not just that the bank was closed down. UT has subsidiaries. Soon after that, the government froze the accounts of all UT subsidiaries. And we didn't even know where it was coming from. We went to Bank of Ghana, one said, we went to IOCO, one said, Finally, they said Financial Intelligence Center. Why? Because the bank is different from logistics, different from property, different from Kofi Amoabeng, whatever it is. That's what we know. And then they said they were investigating UT for money laundering. UT, up to today, 27 accounts are on close here, it's still frozen. So you wonder, who want to kill everything that Kofi Amoabeng has created? So
it never crossed your mind, no, Kofi.
It crosses my mind, but you can't fight the government. Because the government is chosen by the people. So you can't fight the people of Ghana. That's what it is. So you let it go, and life continues.
Interesting. There was a piece I wrote originating from an interview you granted. Well, the client here to say media for the sensationalism they painting, but my main fan for hope. Where you said that at some point in time, now Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta came to your entity for a facility. I'm interested. Was it granted? What the man?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we granted.
Yeah,
he paid eventually.
Yeah. Well.
But not him, his outfit.
His outfit.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Now, Yambra back, now, the point you made about, say, you don't want us to dwell on the negativity, but the experience we can learn from your experience.
Absolutely.
We have seen those who have climbed up, one more AD and as well successful, tell their stories to the youth. The stories are more catchy, you know. Ayana, does it really encapsulate the process? Almost fair one bedroom, sir, baby, my bedroom, some pens, you know. as in whether it is realistic or unrealistic with your experience and from the content of this book?
If I get it right, the main reason for writing the book is not even just to tell my story. Is to tell people how to grow businesses, the challenges you face, and the leadership styles that you have to put in place for you to actually grow the business from where we started, Cantamount, with 4 people, up to where we got to. Because a lot of people will actually meet you and say, so we want you to mentor me, I want you to do this. And I think you can't just mentor too many people one-on-one. But if you write a book and they read the book, experience can be very expensive, but you can get it for free. That's then you get the experience for free. So the idea here is to share the experience so that people who want to aspire to own businesses or get into business or even get employed into business know what they have to do to create good businesses.
There's the issue of the desire to read in Ghana. In that respect, the content was our book, would it get the traction? Per se, or story, no? Young businessman would avoid steps I would take here at Jabedu Sampempe's way, no? When it's captured in the book.
You see, that was the aim. Now, Ghanaians, most people say Ghanaians don't like reading. But we made a book very exciting and very interesting.
Okay.
There's my life before, just before going to the military.
Okay.
Because I was leading a life for Enko baby.
Okay.
Maybe national service, classroom bar, koto chacha, nightclub, near Kobo, near bar.
Now, chacha now we need it.
My winner by the 9th of the month, I'm sick of you know. But irresponsible life, so to speak, which was part of the reason why I joined the army for a bit of discipline. And then in the army, so the book captures life in the army, the complexities, the excitement, the uncertainties, and everything. It's very, very exciting. And sometimes people say they put it down and then laugh. You know, so it's not just about leadership. It's about an exciting life story. So anybody who picks the book, will catch of a book and the feedback is really great. Sometimes some people say the Cabe last 3 chapters now. 1% into you know, and people are asking for the follow-up, which is a volume 2 is going to come. So the feedback has been very good. So even reading, once you start from page 1 straight into action, this is not a normal book. Like I said, I was born in Kukurantumi and I was growing up. No. We just start straight. It's about UT story. The only thing is that anything can UT story without saying where the values and the leadership style came from. So we had to go back, tell what my experience in the army, and then get into the UT story, how it was built. But again, before UT, for 15 years, I was in the wilderness doing all kinds of businesses, which actually helped the UT. Because over time, now, because my firm, I did construction, I did sawmill, air conditioning, selling wines, got charged into court for all sort of occasions, everything. And now oil business, do you know about time now can business 7 hours face normally somebody will be compelled on obviously main kind of send here their mommy. We will come say there one can store you. And sometimes we can say bill here maybe 15,000 loan. And then kasa share the business can say and so because if it's here be 18,000 and you're 15, and they look at me and they say, "I am pa." Because one thing is, you are going to be a partner to the business once we do Sikamano. You should understand the business, and you should also coach the person with the little that you know to ensure that it will be successful. Woman alone na enso okosi baby a onti kwa ma ho onu so ntimi ntua na for onu baby. And then that is a recipe for default. So we did what we felt, especially SMEs needed. And I think everybody knows that we're quite successful to a point. The part that people didn't want to understand was maybe the aggressiveness that we chase people, and I'm sure that you're going to go there.
Definitely.
But no, maintain
Sir.
There be. Ya bomo de akopo bisika interest. No about was some abeto ho. And yet tia semi aye ho computation no what discuss. Ne so ebe ye na life I better. Enti asuma sijiwe na koye na say na agree. Okay. Okoya. So the koye de okoye do because the koye and okotoka e man get emu kwasa semi bre.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. Business we are race. All we want to say, okay, na anye no. Una baba back so because I can meet you end of this month, but because of ABC, you know, it become more time and an years with the feature. No, we have who be a yasi and answer sorry. Member ho, sorry, member ho, a yasi member who fear with them. I am not member ho behavior. But the interesting thing is that. Yena ye bread this come ma onu a wontua na ye no na ye ba o han ahemu achi no yesi mo we ebone ah enti wonu da na ye we that's gonna for can say on trimoti you know I would never understand it.
So how much experience Captain we say you think about you outside
ayeba
But Yambra, the book itself, you know, how long can it take you to write the book?
It took a long time for us to say, let's start. First, Panama say, me show book because people were saying, so listen, write a UT story. And I'm try say, me and Madam for say, let's start. Until he starts our interview. Na book no, none the kumanye. Near finish to no banana. What did you comfort us, David? A gas a show book didn't comfort. So I suspended the whole thing. And then along the line, bank time, you know, I met George, who is the co-author, the writer of the book. Now he was doing a documentary on Uncle White, and he had to interview me in that documentary.
Okay.
So after that, you know, then I think he realized, no, there's a story here that he has to tell. So Obama Honor or say, he thinks he needs to do some series about me and the bank and UT. I'm so well, what does it take? But that time, no, my mind wasn't set. It was just after bank takeover now. Then I'm kind of so this is not a good time. But what I want to do is actually write a book. I'm not waiting a short book. Let me say, now all books are in short. And also, it doesn't matter. I mean, then the background by he went to school of journalism. He's done a lot of media work, and I'm so okay on chain. Then he was very persistent. For about maybe 2 years, he would come, bring a proposal, and things. One day, and I said, there's something I like about this guy. At least he doesn't give up easily, and I like people who have that kind of spirit. And I was okay, like, whatever it is, let's start writing a book. So, to answer your question specifically, we've been at it for about 3 years. Now, when we started, of course, everybody wants to write one book. Then he comes back to me and says, you ain't me throw UT story in one book because me will be a. And you know, he thinks we do 2 books. One up to UT, the other one up to the bank. So, okay, so it will be 2 books. Then he came back and said 2 books, and the chief, I said, 3 books. And I said, okay, let's go. So even this first book, which is more than a normal biography or story like this, you know, it's just the first volume. And we plan to launch the second volume early part next year. And then the third volume probably later part next year.
Me interested in the first gentleman you were attempting to write the book with us in Anakumanye. And he bufu rough off. I don't know man bufu.
Sanote.
Sanote.
Sanote. Ne onikuma.
Onikuma.
But honestly, I say Ghana for. Here anyone to say more ozu. About out in the writing and that's not how I want things to come out. You know. So but he's a very brilliant guy, Onikuma, and it comes out in the writing. And I wanted it to be my story.
Okay.
And I'll tell it as I would normally deliver.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't want to let somebody deliver my story for me.
At the time you were contemplating writing the book, now you were going through a certain phase. You know, you'd lost a bank. What was your state of mind? The phase where the brand associated with Kofi Amoabeng was no more. What was your state around that time?
I'd say it's interesting that you should ask that question. It is like bringing forth a child and giving the child your everything, and after the child has peaked and everything, then the child dies. It's shocking. It's like the dream has come to an end and everything. But ask yourself, is that the end of me? And say, no. I mean, and I've always been well. Me in hospital, and I'm fit. And once you are fit, it means you are available to be used by God again. So I just say, well, this is something else. And when you are tested is when you must not abandon your faith and stay strong and say, what's next? Because this system, unless you have a great faith, God won't test you. And when you say you are strong, you have the faith, then he will test you. And it's testing you to teach lessons to other people. And you must live through it and be faithful to God. That's what it is. So I just said, wow. So what is next? But it wasn't that sharp, because I saw that the bank wasn't doing well. And we're trying to put measures, as I told you. I didn't think it would come to this. I knew that, yes, we've gone down, but there must be some interception, injection of capital, bailout, or something for us to continue with the story. But I must have. But that's not the end of the world.
I think I do a few days ago, say, many Captain Prince Kofi Amoabeng retired. Many Edin Komo, I found a book, The UT Story, Volume 1, Humble Beginnings, and Edin Komo, co-authored by George Bentum Esia. Now, did you get support when you were going through your dark moment when the baby had been taken away from you?
Yeah, I had a lot of support. I had my family, any family in Accra, because I was worried for them, they were worried for me. Because some of them at workplaces and then in school, someone to me, I throw jibes to be, and I'm afraid some way saying, that's how Papa this, some of you were calling me crooks, and I was worried for my kids. But I have a good relationship with my kids. They know me, and I know how I brought them up. And they were rather worried about me, say, how was I going to take it? And I had to stay strong and be myself and let them know, say, listen, nothing will come out of this. And just keep your heads high. You are still an Amoabeng, and you'll be well. So my family was there to support me. I had very good friends, too, who supported me, who were always with me. I mean, one of the people, Professor Yensu, was always there. He fights my fights for me. I've got my friend for life in Kukrantumi. He's been my friend from elementary school. No, because me back round, we call back my friend on me transfer. For the first time, who preached it to me, and the life of Gideon and Daniel and I'm saying, he was worried.
Yeah.
He didn't know what I was going to do.
Yeah.
And so I had people, family, friends, who really probably felt it more. And they were guarding me and making sure that I was occupied. And I played a lot of golf too. I wasn't playing well, but it occupies me.
Yeah.
You know, so I had a lot of support. And it was all good. I probably did it. There's a funny thing. Madam Bako buy sometimes at the apartment, 8th floor. About Kofi say yes. 8th floor there. Young catchers ground floor and first floor. I'm saying what's there? Someone be the intimate try for. I'm saying, what you say, baby? I said, don't worry about me. 8th floor, are you okay? I'm never going to job or think about suicide. Never. You know, it's just a face. And you see, one thing I would say, and again it's for the youth, is that when you have humility, you go through things and it doesn't affect you. But we are watching. Say now, office the whole world is looking at you, and I say, "Jimmy, before home office say, hey, say to me, I never felt like that. I mean, at the peak, when UT was whatever. Let me show you one. Let me watch year one. The car year one, and I drove it myself.
No,
so what do you mean?
At the time you were at
whatever.
The peak.
Yeah.
Now shoe year one.
We shoe year one. And I said I'm shoe year one. So what have I lost in terms of shoes? Nothing.
Interesting.
Me watch year one, no come in the chair me. And no crowd after program me the actual because time me phone so. You know, people are materialistic and I think they need validation from where? And they do things and look for money by all means. It's not necessary. I think we didn't come to this world to be materialistic and to amass wealth. We came to better our world, and that is why Jesus Christ came to show us how to live. But even though the bank was taken and my accounts were frozen and things that, I'm touching the core. The core me wasn't touched. I can always afford one shoe. I can always have one car. I don't need to live in a mansion. So, what are you going to do? I try to do my best to help people around me, businesses, so that business will employ people and people will get jobs and people will live and people will eat. That's what I wanted to do, and I'm proud about that.
What your feelings be towards?
No.
You don't have?
Don't even finish. No.
Not towards?
Nobody.
The governor of the Bank of Ghana? Not
towards No, the bank.
Especially when there was an alternative to the closure.
The alternative wasn't for they were supposed to make a call.
Yeah.
And you see, when these things happen, it depends what they will hear and the reports they will get. If somebody doesn't like you, you go and paint a very bad report, which may not be true, and they can act on it. So they had to make that call, and the call not only from the reports they were seeing, but for what people were telling them. Maybe some people in Ghana even told them, say, we don't like those people. Maybe if it's in from IMF, because we had issues with IFC, or maybe they all came together. But the point is, I will not sit here and sulk and get depressed and kill myself for it.
I post this number in only on Mubia shipping.
Oh yeah, I meet all of them. Yeah, many governors share Ninko. I've met a deputy governor whom I've known for a long time. I've met the finance minister. I've met the president. I've met all the people who matter in this thing, and I don't have anything against them. If they are acting in the best interest of the people of Ghana, fine. If they have some agenda, and also
conspicuously missing in most of the conversations, or partners, and on your more erratic business at the time. What's the relationship now? It's okay.
It's not as it used to be. I had a partner who had 50% of the shares. So that when the business was there was when we were partners. If the business has been taken, there's no more there. We are still friends, but we don't have a common agenda as we used to have. So we don't see ourselves as regular as we used to see ourselves. That's my partner. The other people were managers of the business is no more. And they must also find a means of living because they have kids and responsibilities. So they found their jobs to do. I'm not young. I'll be 70 next year. So I'm a pensioner. So I've taken it easy, play golf, go to court because I'm in court, and live my life.
It is intriguing, Kakra, for the years you spent with your partners, the common thread would be that of business, not necessarily relationships established. I find that off.
No, it's not off. Me, every weekend, I go there, I play golf, I stay there and come back. So, social life in Accra, minibi. And apart from coming to my apartment to have dinner or something like that, weekend, so you won't get that kind of relationship with me. I have probably a dual, two sides.
Okay.
I'm a bit of an introvert. So you won't find me at most functions. I want to be alone with close people that I know, and they know me. I can be myself. I don't like going to places and showing off, saying that this, that my bar, that this. It's not part of me, and I don't like people because before I major oh no, papa, you know. So I like a situation where the systems and processes are applied to the hilt. Uja anything leeway, things will go bad. You see, maybe I should just let me digress a little bit. The Ghanaian or African culture, any business culture, no, they are loggerheads.
Okay. Because
the typical Ghanaian culture, which is epitomized by our chieftaincy institution, the chief decides the policies, but he is above the policy. And now, you don't do that in business. In business, when you are the leader, you set the tone. If you put a policy there, you are the number one staff. You must actually lead by example. If you don't, you are not a good leader. So what I find is that most people who are running businesses will bring this culture, typical Ghanaian culture, into the businesses. On a boss. Into a background, and this will be a crack cross. So Oba lift to home, Obi and me lift to Nubi, because but na more or less. And that is not good for business as far as I'm concerned. You know, so it's difficult running business in Ghana, employing Ghanaians who are having a different culture, will be changing that culture and be open with them and respect everybody's role. As far as I'm concerned, the cleaner, the messenger, the manager, everyone is a consultant. Obiad and expertise is coming to bear on the business. And you set the tone, policies should be followed. You start by making sure you follow the policies. And if the boss is following a policy, who can go contrary to it? If I should actually look at, and the leadership is the same. For a small company, for the nation is everything. You know, so I don't want to go into politics, but the leader should set the tone. You don't say something else to your staff and do something different.
You don't want to go into politics. But I'll ask this. If what should I say? We shall follow us. Captain, o constituents are no more considering what experience when your relationships, network our yes, you but you name na ABA co-representing your parliament. Unko. Sa. But who politics were Ghana saying?
And yet. You see, it's sad. I wish we could see a country that is preparing to take off, that is putting policies, implementing things, that's dedicated to a cause, that has a vision that is pursuing, and the leadership is driving the vision, everybody is well aligned. That's not what we have. You see, and I don't mind saying it, we have a system where a political party wins power, and he comes and he sacks all heads of state institutions and appoints all heads of state institutions, including board members, board chairmen, and then they also come and appoint staff because they have to come from their party. We are bound to fail. One point, even if they are experts, there's no control, no accountability. And they are giving directives as to what to do. In most cases, they don't have a clue. But they say, you will be trying because one boy party. And you want this country to progress? That's why we're having the problems.
But Rebecca said there are checks and balances, if even that is the case. For instance, Parliament will always check the executive, no? For instance, the Auditor General is there to audit the books of, even if the person is incompetent and misusing public funds. These checks and balances are supposed to
audit a report, but what do we do with it? He will write a report, all right. what is it? Prosecutor, national prosecutor,
special prosecutor.
Special prosecutor. Yeah, and if you want the other person about. And the special prosecutor is not even independent of the politics. So we are in dire straits, if you ask me. Take, for whatever reason, head of maybe licensing office or DVLA. What does that got to do with politics? License the cars. I say, you're buying for buy a sound. Are we expert in licensing cars? What does that got to do? But if I be you ready, you know?
Yeah.
So it's sad, and it's getting worse to the point that politics has filtered into the armed forces, into the judiciary, I'm sure, and everything, because they appoint everybody. When I was in the army, politics and religion are not supposed to be discussed in the mess. You don't discuss politics, don't discuss religion. Because politics, you don't know who's going to be head of state. Audience, you are dedicated to the head of state of the day, and you fight for your nation, period. And religion, and family, because Obiaya settings.
Yeah.
Go and see Burma camp and other military camps now. A corporal can leave the armed forces, his battalion or whatever, politics or support to Obiachi. He can't be charged for a war because only Penifon and them. Not the commanding officer. And you find officers now, politics won't do one room, one own assets. A dynamo at the soldier. No, soldier, your life was for the state. They say politics needs a capenum and it's getting worse.
What's the danger if the armed forces are also in for the wealth, for the money, for the goodies?
I don't know. Say it wasn't like that, and it's becoming like that. So only God knows where we are going. And that's exactly the song my friend General, that's the song he sang for me when we launched the book. That we are going, but we don't know where we're going. We certainly don't know where we're going, but we're going the wrong way.
Really?
Absolutely.
Businessman, recently we read the budget, Ajenkwa budget, and you say we are going in the wrong direction. That's heavy.
Yeah, that's my position. Something I have better.
Yes, but your weight.
My
your weight from the perspective of an ex-officer, a banker allows you to have an appreciation of the economy. And so if you feel that we are going in the wrong direction, then that's heavy.
What do you think?
Well, at the moment, I'm the one asking the questions. My views there, Obia would say, happy morning show be and views on matters.
Okay.
I'm sure this morning when you were coming, you would have listened to the show at least to have a fair idea the person you're coming to engage with. I say it as it is without mentioning words.
And I say as it is without mentioning words. And I'm saying that I don't like the way we're going. Where it's but politics is the same, even in America. I mean, it's unbelievable the stance of the Republicans against and you say, I mean, while once in a while you have one or two people dissent, no, you can't dissent. And that's what we have. And it's going in the wrong direction. And I don't know when we're going to turn around, because taxes and taxes and taxes, but we're not talking about reducing our expenditure. You spend what you have. You don't just borrow and spend it if you don't know what you're getting out of it. But it looks like we're just borrowing and taking taxes, but nobody's talking about cutting costs at all. The 40 plus SUV that's fueled by the state is still going on for funerals and all sort of things. They're adding salaries for wives. Nobody's talking about cutting costs. When I started Unique Trust, I didn't have any money. Those days, paper crowd, now we still one sheet of paper. I'll sack you. But later on, when we had the monies, we bought computers, we had luxurious offices, and so on and so forth. If you have it, you spend. If you don't have it, you get mean with yourself and create the money before you spend it. But we're only spending. Nobody cares about cutting costs. And it must come from the top. It shouldn't come from down.
Well, my final two questions. The banking sector. We were told that The cleanup exercise was to consolidate, the banking sector and to make the ones who were able to meet the minimum threshold be robust enough. Certain watching, you see the banking sector as the intent was supposed to be.
Well, robust, yes, if you raise the minimum capital to 400 million. Of course, even if there are leakages and thefts and whatever, non-performing loans, then the shareholders fund the capital will provide a kind of shock absorbers before it touches depositors' money. So, yes, it makes them more robust as those who make 400 million. But the point which we tend to forget is that the 400 million that the banks have, it comes from where? Mostly from outside. So in Ghana, we don't control anything. The Ghanaians don't control anything. When it comes to oil, we don't have the capital, we don't have the technology. Mining, we can always sit on the peripherals. Banking, even restaurant, the good ones and hotels, tourism, is all for foreigners. What kind of country is that? So when the minimum capital, yes, you make the banks robust, but the banks that were robust were the Standard Chartered, the Absas, the whatever, and then you have very few Ghanaian banks. So maybe 80–90% of the banking sector doesn't belong to us. That's what the outcome is. When we started Unique Trust, we needed 100 million old CDs capital, which today is what, 10,000?
Yeah.
And 100 million old citizens. From there, we were able slowly to build an institution that built up capital to the point where we could list that company and raise $27 million and use it to buy a bank. So it's not 400 million, but you are cutting off possible practitioners who could have built institutions. 400 million of our way. Even if we're a non-bank, we have 15 million CDs. How many people? I'm talking about, started 100 million old CDs. That was the requirement. And we're still able to build or do what we did. Now if you start from 400 million or even 50 million, there are people who could have done it, but they can't raise that capital to even start. And the regulations are there. If your capital is 100 million or 10 million or whatever, there are things that you can do and things that you cannot do because you don't have the might.
Yeah.
So that's the supervisory thing which ensures that all these things are done. Why are we just raising minimum capital to 400 million for a bank? So if I have 100 million or 50 million, I want to do a small bank, I should be able to do it. Now they are saying that no, you can only do maybe savings and loans, or you can do microfinance or something. So I don't know, but in the scheme of things, the regulator knows best.
Let me assume the position of president momentarily. Send me a
president of Ghana. Oko.
Na meko. Na madwene ho a opani obetima ye adwuma as my minister for trade and I say as my minister for finance. Me fro obeba be my minister. If a party won power and said we need Prince as minister to handle this portfolio, would you?
It depends. I will spell out exactly how I think I will run that outfit. 2, that it's a hands-off thing. 3, I'll be accountable, but I need to put a blueprint what I can deliver if I get A, B, C, and you judge me by it. I'm known to have sacked my cousins, my brothers, friends in my own company. In your state today, me I'm there. So if it's for the state, and I walk into any position, it is going to be for the state. It won't be for that party. Into the end, frame me.
Even I mean, but I think I do feel that one. I'm the Captain retired Prince Kofi Amoabeng and Edin Komo. I found a book, our launch, the UT story. Edin Komo. Get a copy. I'll tell you where you can get a copy of the book to buy, the locations, and even contacts that you can utilize to get a copy of the book. Very interesting information in there. You're welcome back to the Happy Morning Show. And we are privileged to have in the studio Captain retired Prince Kofi Amoabeng and Edin Komo, UT Bank, and once and some book I watch the story of UT Bank, the humble beginnings. There have been several text messages most of you have been sending me, those who have my personal line, and then those who are on Facebook as well, coming into my inbox and sending messages. And they all want to know where they can get this interesting book to buy and read. And mepacho so uti and open now share and open so obetimi all these points obenya book ni bi no matter now is working very interesting book. The things we are talking about all are in there. EPP Bookshop our Legon second floor Legon City Mall obetimi afa 028 97111100 and I say EPP Bookshop Accra Central the Ghana Law School, Ubenya Bookibi at home. EPP Bookshop, Trade Fair, opposite the Ghana International Trade Fair Center, Ubenya Ebi Noato Elhonum. EPP Bookshop, Kumase, Ebe Asafo, Snit Office, and also Ubenya Bi Atop, and Afe Kingdom Books, Akwaje, Kingdom Books, Legon Campus, Kingdom Books, KNUST Campus, Kumase, Kingdom Books, Tema, Airport Shell, Airport Accra, Osu Total, Osu Accra, Bacho Na Total. And Afe Vidya Bookstores, Laboni Eni Osu, Mobile Secretariat Accra, Mr. Books near the CD House Accra, Readers Haven, Kolebu Accra, Colored Yarns, Kumasi Mall, and Afe Market Street Pharmacy, Okboy Gono, near the Hotel Green, and Afe Mope a lot of online transactions. No, me pacho oko a year Book Nook the store. Online, obetimi out of soft copy or hard copy, sorry, and then it will be sent to you. Book Nook the store. Now what you best send it at bro. Numbers one ma opeso make you contact her and also before the conversation ends no me dey and ensemble bro man for. You be your phone lines no idea too briefly. Yafa ebia 2 3 4 calls na afi no ya twaso ne Edin Komo anopai sofu nyansa bo akwa eba be come inside ne Edin Komo the mass wedding then you know the ewo aye enkwa hanim say 14th of February yebedi and so enkomo ewo jumedi so and so I encourage you to stay with us. Number no 0244885140 0244885140 and 0555657278. As always mepacho ofremia maukasa no emu enyehwam maukasa no manenye decent any kasabia emu enyehwam enye papa bia no you know me I'll take you off the line until or a bia question be or comment be so pass it and answer to find out much more the book you can call us and let's have a conversation. But back to the studio. I'm saying your first call about Homani. So hello, good morning.
Good morning, Sugar.
Yes sir. Pacho
we Idi Ekasafri Tabora Lodge.
Go ahead, Didi, with your question under a minute, please.
Yo, Mati, Damasi, na Mada Yabapa Swasi, na Mama no shedding, because there are two ni air shedding in some Obia are waiting your beautyma, na Wafani Pabri, Almuyajma, all of sudden say, yes, see your wage maybe I say money shedding, young Pon Canon, one brand of coma, no book na what on snow. Now, treasure points I've been betting your far, even your book be. That's it.
I'll take that again. Now, maybe a locations are in your book, maybe at Tono, Eddie Abre or Mam for 0244885140 and 0555657278. Offer any of these numbers are able to me any word and come up. But as always, your words must be decent and courteous. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, Chief, would you be here for free?
Virtual Remy Raymond, make a selfie Paraku Estate.
Raymond Yanko.
Mr. Amoabeng, a great man. He's a man of intelligence. You look at the way he's handling your questions. You see, he's trying not to be political about it. He's being real. The man is extremely intelligent. I didn't know him to be like that. And I see something unique about him. He has started in life. He put it in the form of a book for the future generation to learn it. It is something which is synonymous to the art of Dr. Masmoro. you understand the way he talks, the way he handles issues. I think there's more in the man that he can come out with to help the nation. Man, will stay out of politics like that.
But that's a place of yes, I see the more in him. And until may President Kakrebi for just a second. No, may imagine me appointing as a minister. Now. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, but you didn't be free.
Yeah, from Kofi, make us a few quick to me.
Kofi, who free for your home?
I'm a few quick to me.
Yanko.
I've had the opportunity to meet Daddy. My present opportunity next year. I've been to his house several times, but But I want to say he's somebody I admire. You call me a friend, Captain. And I want to tell him, say, for all the things he has done for our community. This was one of the things our year was time I obey early school. No, I mean it was one of the best times for me. And I mean, say, no matter how you should be humble, because I see him all the time. Or back Craig Ebebogov, I've seen him several times, but I don't have the boldness to get to him. I mean, Shano Pana, then I say Pana.
So free Kukantum and Opera we need the Encomo 0244885140. I believe say a final caller now after you wrap up with the conversation. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Pacho. Didn't baby after free.
Me Pacho, me for feed dance so much.
Yo, Pacho Dean.
Me Pacho for me Bennett.
All right, Pacho Uncle.
Good morning. Me Pacho, me person me catch that say or one queen or one ding in Nara. Uncle Swana on Shen and Hunting. Na em pay mono. Na me be Shen and when you that's it.
But I was an pay so for now about Jimmy so and pay so that'll be it for this morning. We are unable to pick any more calls. Remember back to the studio. Feedback from viewers and our listeners. How do you feel about it?
I feel humbled. Normally I'm used to Kofobi bedtime so we didn't get any. But I think most of the time maybe I should talk more because normally one name, you know, what is all here and some kitwa. But it's okay. It's also part of the package. But I'm really humbled by comments. Now I'll say if you to me, no, he can walk to my house and tell them say he wants to see me. He can meet me on the golf course. I meet all sort of people. I don't discriminate. I don't hide myself, and I don't sack people. And the Kofino already when he sees me, he should come and say hi.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So, Yemfan is my final question. What's the NDC for power? One of the key economic, activists, our member of parliament, has said that they will restore the licenses of these collapsed banks. Would you be happy to embark on the journey again if it does happen?
It depends. So I retired from the bank, and even though I retired from the bank, one of the regrets that I have, I can't do much about it, is how, let's say, I disappointed the people who believed in the dream. There were people who had invested monies in UT Holdings, and they could not be paid their full money. Some were paid, some not paid fully. When it comes to the bank, there are about even shareholders, about 15,000 shareholders. Our share price not got down, but at least there was some, it had some worth.
Yeah.
Now the government's action of taking the bank, or withdrawing the license, meant said there was no business, and therefore stock exchange had to stop trading those shares. And even for other people, other investors who are investing in maybe even dubious things where the monies were refunded. In the case of people who had invested in the company on the stock exchange, the government has said nothing about it. And you see, when we launched the shares of UT, we said everybody's share. People from Makola, from the markets, because they believe that this is their company, they believe in UT, they bought shares in it. And there's like, I have led them to lose their money. And that's a bit of a regret. But for them, I would say, they didn't lose the loan. I lost probably the heaviest. But once a bumper young from Beshon on them, so those are the things that I regret. Your question was,
so your restore license now, would you be
willing
to go even though again?
Even I'm 70 and I left the bank before, no, at least it to be, if it would address the position of these investors, about 15,000 shareholders plus other investors, I will feel light about it and not carry any guilt to say because of me people have lost their monies. That's all I want to say.
Captain, and I say watching Bernani Edinkomo.
I said I there.
It's been an interesting conversation and it's all about the book, the ET story. If you read the headlines of the newspapers this morning, they are all talking about entrepreneurship and how the government is going to bridge the gap, unemployment gap. But you see, as a young entrepreneur, if you really want to understand the dynamics of the terrain and the environment you are in, get yourself a copy of the book. Read, understand, avoid the pitfalls they're in, and know how to relate with people. And every my business now. And to say, you're discounted bremo, na se mo koje, nobody be starting a business. There are things in here you must know and learn. Get yourself a copy. I'll do you the favor by sharing with you again where you'd find this book to buy. Again, say Uyobia War and Krahanum say ya Legon Campus Oko Air Kingdom Books a ebi el honum Akwaje Kingdom Books ebi el honum KNUST Campus Kumasi Kingdom Books ebi el honum Tema Kingdom Books ebi el honum Airport Shell Ekwaneso honum ebi el honum Osu Total ebi el honum Bachona Total ebi el honum Vidya Bookstores ebi el honum Mobile Secretariat ebi el honum Mr. Books ebi el honum Readers Haven ebi el honum Caladians ebi el honum El Kumasi Market Street Pharmacy honso ebi el honum and online oko booknook.store obenye bi ewo honum pacho obetimi first numbers we say APP Bookshop Legon second floor Legon City Mall obetimi first number on sabeka wo Accra Central ebi el honum near the Ghana Law School ebi el honum obetimi eni omadi ensa wo so number no 02897111100 and I say obe change the last number no I need 2 and I say I need 1. That's it. You're good to go. Once again, Captain, and I pay it.
Thank you very much.